Question for Mr. Stallone. From Men's Fitness magazine, so it's a training-related question. In the film, your character uses a lot of old-school strongman style exercises to get in shape for the fight. In your opinion, what are the benefits of doing those kind of, like say, like a tire flip or truck pull? What are the physical benefits of doing those from a strength and conditioning point of view, and how do you incorporate them into your training sessions in real life?
Well, I think that right now, training is so scientific and better in many, many, many ways. But then I go back to the old school. My favorite fighters, a lot of times, were like Harry Greb. I had 435 fights with one eye, and he literally would fight 46 times in 1 year. And you say, how can they possibly do that? And this was 4-ounce gloves and a mouthpiece. And the way their conditioning was, their training, it was just a different sort of muscles they used. A lot of the woods, chopping things, just a lot of manual labor. And I thought, I'm going to try to incorporate that in the training, because I think when it gets right down to it, there's a certain kind of, as I said in Rocky VI, blunt force trauma, just developing that kind of power that George Foreman used. And then also mix it with the scientific aspect that you learn with, plyometrics and everything else in the gym. But I think there is something about that, those fighters that can go 40 rounds. Yeah, I used to love these old fights. They go, yeah, my strategy is that I'm going to take him out in the 30-30. Take him out in the 30. That's your plan? Yeah, I'm going to wear him out in 30-30, 34. I'll drop him. True. These guys like battling Nelson. These guys. So anyway, yeah, I think there's something very active and dramatic looking. Like, can I pull that truck? No. I was like, I said, what am I, like some Polish strongman? Like, the world's strongest man competition? I think, did you get a smaller truck, like a wheelbarrow? Like, no, it's all a little dramatic, thanks. So now everyone's going to ask me to pull trucks. But yeah, I believe in the old school and the new school. I think neither one is dispensable.
Can I just say, first of all, that both your movies inspired me to become world champion. I was a young boxer back in the day, so thank you very much for that. And ask Mr. De Niro, how hard was it to play a real boxing legend, both in shape and out of shape?
Well, it was hard, the training. I mean, at the end of the day, we just did Marty Scorsese and I just did our take on Jake and his life, a part of it, and so on. But it was hard. I mean, just the physical stuff was hard. Weight, gaining the weight, after 20 pounds, 15, 20 pounds, it's just work. It's drudgery. And then losing it again, taking it all off.
Did you get health problems?
No. I mean, I had a doctor who was monitoring the whole thing, the whole way.
You're supposed to say, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Definitely. I lost consciousness. Okay.
Mr. Stallone, how did you manage to get expelled from school 14 times?
All right. You probably tell right now I tend to be a little hyper. And that's exactly what it is. And back then, they had no tolerance for it. Everyone had to march a certain line. And if you're out there flirting with some girl, looking outside, watching a caterpillar crawl up your arm, things like that were more interesting than school, you were gone. Especially in the days of the Catholic schools. Like, oh my God, out, out, out. And so finally, they just said, you cannot come back to school, period. Like, well, okay, I'll become an actor. No, but it was, they call it, that's what, ADD. Well, I was ADD, AA plus ADD. So, yeah.
Peter, how long had this idea for this movie been running in your head since you were clearly inspired by Rocky and Jake?
Well, Bill Gerber gave me the script a couple of years ago, and when we started working on it, it was just written for two guys in their 60s. It wasn't written specifically for these two men, but the more we worked on it, the more I realized that as much of a comedy as it was going to be, that the fight had to be taken very seriously, and we had to play it very real and make it gritty. And we could not think of any other people to play these characters other than these two. And of course, the added bonus is we get to bring a lot of their legacy in the ring cinematically to it as well. But once again, we could not have made this movie without these guys.
Guys, for the two guys in the middle, both of you, after all your years in Hollywood, if you could have a real life grudge match, Who would you like to get in the ring?
Oh, you mean as an actor?
No, real life.
Oh, in real life, it's usually someone, it would be like an attorney. Yeah, something like that. It's someone in another profession. In real life, if you could get in the ring with some, it'd probably be like great to get in there with some dictator. You think, okay, let's see what it feels like for you to get punched out, that kind of thing. But it would take that's a long list. How about you? Do you have anyone?
Yeah, I know some people, but I'm not going to say one.
You can tell me, I won't tell you.
Question for Mr. Segal. Basically, well, it's alluded to the alert that the gentleman spoke about before, but the guest cameo that we really want to mention. Was it very expensive?
It was more expensive than we thought. Yeah, yes, but money apparently talks, so it's about loud enough to get them there.
And also a question for Mr. Stallone and Mr. De Niro. I was very impressed with your training sequences. You showed that older guys can really do it. But do you have an opinion on older guys fighting? Do you believe older guys should box?
Well, let's just define what we call, let's just say old. Is it, as we know, 40 is a pretty good age for a fighter that's like pushing it. I think after that, you're asking for some serious trouble. It also depends what kind of fighter they were. Like, for example, when I was in there with Antonio Tarver, who was at that time the light heavyweight champion, and we were moving around, and we used special gloves where he could really crack. And it hurt, but it didn't have the concussive power because I took the padding out and moved the hand clenched, and so you had about that much in there. And I could see that I wouldn't last very, very long, so that's why we put in that thing where he broke his hand. So I think 40, 42 is, now you're hitting the miraculous stage where there could be terrible repercussion. I mean, Bernard Hopkins is a freak because he hasn't taken much punishment in his style of throwing 30 punches, 35 punches around. He's kind of like slowed down time. Whereas a fighter like a Tyson or Joe Frazier, they have a very short shelf life because they have to work so hard to overcome the size compensation. So to answer your question, I don't think it's a good career move to go past 40 unless you're just a phenomenon, like a Durant or something like that. Am I wrong? Or
You know your stuff.
Yes.
We've got time for a couple more. Gentleman there with the glasses.
Hi guys, really enjoyed the film. At the beginning of it, Sharp jokes about how he's going to wanted to be a dancer, and in the end, Kid does some dancing. I was wondering if any three of you were ever considering doing a dancing film.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about Nutcracker Suite. Is it too late for us to do ballet, Christmas ballet? Seriously, come on. You can do anything. What?
You've got some moves, Bobby. You've got some.
Yeah, exactly. No, the idea of, I tried to sing once and I almost ended up like haunting a ship with that voice. So, and dancing, come on, real guys don't dance. We go through the motions, but nah.
After working together on Copland, have you always been looking for another project to work together on?
Always, yeah. I mean, am I always looking for it? Absolutely. I mean, he's got a little talent. He's got a few days left, you know, and I'm trying to use him up as fast as I can because guys like this come along once in a generation or even longer. So, yeah, I'm always looking for something. I mean, Heath doesn't feel the same way, but
I mean, if something had come along, we would have done it, and you never know in the future. Absolutely.
And by the way, those guys that take offense to like real guys don't dance, I'm joking. Okay, I don't want someone protesting in front of my hotel or some dancing society. I'm joking.
Final question.
Yeah, hi. It's a question for Mr. Stallone. It's actually a question from another British boxer. I work for Men's Lifestyle magazine, and one of our columnists is former heavyweight champion David Hay. he fancies himself as a bit of a budding actor and wants to know whether you'd be interested in casting him in an upcoming movie. I think he fancies himself for The Expendables.
Well, you know, he actually has a look about him, and you never know until you never know. Some people you see off camera, you go, God, this guy, and then the camera falls in love with him, and then you see some incredibly handsome looking, good looking woman, and the camera hates him. So he just has to get up there in front of us and see what he's got, but I wouldn't eliminate that as a possibility.
Thanks very much, guys. What a pleasure to have Sylvester Stallone and Robert De Niro here in London. Peter as well. Thank you, guys, and thanks for coming.
And you did a great job.